Okay, guys, our last age group that we're going to talk about. In this section, I'm giving you a pass on. You don't have to take a quiz. So, yay, cue the fireworks, right? So, there's no quiz on this section, but I still want you to listen to it and read the materials because there is a good possibility that school age care will be part of your life at some point. So, it's in here. I would like you to go ahead and watch this and listen and read the section. So when we get to the school age kids, we kind of break it into two groups, which is the young elementary school kids and the older elementary school kids. You may have a program that takes care of kids all the way to 12, so you might have a couple of middle schoolers in there as well. So we'll talk about those also. So those young elementary school kids, those kinder, first, second graders, they are learning how to read, how to write, how to do basic math. So that's what's going on cognitively, right? They have mastered or are just now finally getting it right about tomorrow, yesterday, and really have a good sense of time. What is 15 minutes? What is a week? What is a month, right? They're starting to really get that. And they are also starting to differentiate between what is real and what is imaginary or what is made up. So that's another huge developmental milestone for these young elementary school kids. And the other thing that I'm almost sure you already knew is that kids this age love fart and burp jokes. And they try to tell jokes all the time, and some of them don't make any sense. Knock, knock, who's there? Rabbit? Rabbit who? Rabbit, you know I'm your friend? Right? They know the format, but they just don't know quite how to make it funny. And frequently they'll laugh at each other's jokes, even though adults are like, that didn't make any sense. Okay? Because to them, what they're learning is you tell a joke and then people laugh. So even though they don't frequently get jokes, they laugh at them anyway because they think this is what you're supposed to do. They've learned that social rule. Okay, so the 5 to 7-year-olds are still going to, just like anybody of any age, when they're learning a whole bunch of new stuff, whether it's new fine motor skills, gross motor skills, cognitive skills, verbal skills, they're likely to regress in other areas. So when, they have their first spelling test, they may have a bathroom accident that day because they're so anxious about keeping how to spell red in their head that they just can't pay attention to the signals from their body. So they are making best friends that they say are going to be forever, and they start telling secrets. Oh, the young elementary school kids love a secret. So if you tell them something as a secret, they will be over the moon. Okay. Then we've got our later elementary school kids, our 8, 9, 10-year-olds. So that's third, fourth, fifth graders. And these guys are starting to really be a little bit self-conscious, and they want to make sure that if they're changing clothes, the doors are closed. So they're getting a little bit more bodily autonomy, a little bit more in charge of their body. And they don't like to be told what to wear. That's not so much an issue for us as teachers, but it is an object of stress in their life, is parents who still insist on picking out their clothes. Or won't let them buy what they want to buy when it comes to clothes or books or things like that. And they are starting to get some really good understanding of their hobbies. This is when sports start, little league, soccer, all of that. There is sometimes soccer for younger kids. I call it herd ball because it's just a bunch of kids running that way. and then a bunch of kids running that way. They don't really understand the rules, but these 8 to 10-year-olds can really understand the rules of the game. What makes somebody out? What is traveling? What is a foul? All of those things start to really make sense to the kids at this age. And so hobbies take off, whether those are sports related hobbies or art, dance, ninja warrior stuff, parkour. All the ones I'm thinking of right now are physical, but it may be that they start practicing magic, or they've decided they're going to be the funny kid, and so they're reading all kinds of joke books so that they can master jokes. Or I don't know, maybe they start putting on skits with their friends. But hobbies become much more of an issue for these late elementary school kids, because they're starting to do what they did in preschool, which is specialize in knowledge, right? They have decided, oh, this is the kind of person I'm going to be. I'm going to be the kid who acts, or I'm going to be the kid who sings, or I'm going to be the funny kid, or I'm going to be the parkour kid, right? So they're starting to specialize a little bit. And as far as cognitive skills, this whole past future thing, they've got it nailed. They understand time, and they are starting to plan their own time. So they get home from school, they come into your program, and they're like, okay, so today can I work in Legos? Or I brought a jigsaw puzzle. Can me and Kenny work on it? So they're starting to plan for the future, even if the future is, 30 minutes after they get to your program, right? So they're cognitively realizing that they have some ability to make plans for the future, as opposed to the younger kids where it just kind of rolls. And they may say, when I grow up, I want to be a firefighter or whatever, but they're not really planning for it. And these 8 to 10-year-olds start to really plan their futures. And that's a huge thing cognitively. They're starting to write longer pieces. They're not just writing sentences, they're writing paragraphs and maybe even some essays. Woo, very exciting. And that can be challenging for them, but they have the ability at this point to start writing paragraphs and essays and to write narrative stories and things like that. So those might be some really good projects for you to do. And they like long-term projects. Since they have the understanding of time, doing a big project like making a paper mache world that is 6 feet across, like that is something they can do now that they couldn't do before, really, because they can have more delayed gratification. So that's the late elementary school kids. Then we've got those like 5th and 6th graders that may still be in your program. And one of the biggest challenges there is that hormones are happening. They are rushing through those tiny little bodies, or not so tiny little bodies. And so that can mean we have some personal hygiene issues. Kids who could get away with taking a bath once a week or a shower once a week now really have to do it every day or every other day, because they got some sweaty pits. Their armpits are starting to go. So you may have to be that person who talks to a parent and says, I've really started noticing that Michaela, she's sweating a lot more. So you might want to introduce deodorant. So you may have to have some uncomfortable conversations with parents, because they still see their kids as, little babies. And you've noticed that their bodies are changing and that they're much more interested in who's cute, and all of those things. And that can be a huge problem at your program. Because not everybody gets there at the same time. Some kids start really noticing who's cute and they're still in diapers. And other kids, it's going to be 14, 15, 16 years old before they really sort of go, aha, huh. And I know that there are some people who never do. And that's a developmental disability that we don't really ever talk about. But it happens at different stages, and that can really cause some stress in your program, because some of your kids are starting to sweat more, or are you know, the girls have outstripped the boys. They're way taller than the boys. And so the boys are uncomfortable about the fact that they're smaller, because they're supposed to be big, strong, manly men, and girls get their growth spurts much earlier than boys. Boys don't usually get their growth spurts until sometime in high school, and those middle school girls may stop growing. I know somebody who stopped growing at 12. I'm sure I know lots of them, but one who actually talked to me about it. And so she got to be the height she is as a 12-year-old, and it was great at 12, not so much as she got older. So all of those things are going to play into the development and what happens at your program. So guys, thank you so much for spending time with me. We've got one more video, and I will give you some congratulations there. Have a great, great year working at your center.